everybody. This is Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, and today we have the great honor and pleasure of visiting with Ryan Berg, bassist Ryan Berg, who's touring with the national tour of Jersey Boys.
Yeah.
So that said, Ryan, we're excited. You're here in Portland, and we're going to be seeing the show tonight, and I know it has some particular demands, but I'd like people to get to know you a little bit as a bassist. Tell us a little bit about your journey. How did you get involved with bass? How did you get started?
I guess I got started as a child on cello. My father's a bass player, and so I started with that, and then somehow I kind of ended up studying with this guy Anthony Cox in Minneapolis, and moved to New York and started playing on the jazz scene, and then ended up doing Jersey Boys.
Wow.
You're from my neighborhood, you got three ways out. You could join the army, you could get mobbed up, or you could become a star. Big girls don't cry. Big girls don't cry. Walk like a man, fast as I can. Walk like a man from you. I'll tell the world, forget about it, girl. And walk like a man from you.
Well, there you go. That made the long story really short. Did you go to school?
I did. I went to SUNY Purchase.
Okay. Excellent.
And did my undergrad there.
Nice. And as we talk about Jersey Boys, I know that certainly there's been whole books written about being a bassist in New York.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it is kind of getting yourself either a chance to sit in for somebody or kind of working your way in. And I know that you do other things as well. You know, you're involved with education. I know that you've got like a jazz project that you work with. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. I have a band called C4.
Okay.
And we've been, playing together probably 15 years now,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 12 years. And we all used to live together, and we recorded in our apartment, and we had a steady gig at Fat Cat in New York City for 7 years. We pretty much always had a steady gig somewhere for about 10 years. And then we kind of all ended up on the road all the time. So now we just play whenever we're all home.
Nice. And in addition to that, if I understand correctly, you're also working on an album for, like, you're shooting for like 2018, right?
Yep. We've been working. We have a good 2 or 3 recording sessions in the can, but we'll see. I have a studio now at home that's like a storefront studio school place.
Cool.
And so we've been recording there whenever we're all around.
Very nice. And moving back more to talk about Jersey Boys, my understanding is that it's kind of a interesting challenge in that you're not playing in the pit particularly. You're on stage, so it has requirements of choreography and stuff with it. Tell me a little bit about that.
It does. Well, last year we were up in boxes, so we were at least in the same place when we weren't on stage.
Mm-hmm.
This year we're wherever. So we're running back and forth, or at least a couple of us are in the band we're going on stage, we play a few songs,
Mm-hmm.
and we run back, and then we're running back and forth and have some choreography. In New York, I guess we had more choreography than we have out here.
Gotcha.
And we're singing background vocals on, a lot of songs.
Nice. Well, I find it always a challenge to be able to both play and sing at the same time. I think it uses two different sides of your brain, so that in itself, and if you had to dance with it, it's even more challenging.
Yeah, thankfully we never have to dance, sing, and play at the same time. We're either dancing and playing or singing and playing.
There you go.
And this is actually my first experience really singing and playing at the same time, so I worked on it a lot before I
Very cool.
started.
Very cool. And gear, how do you work? Are you using a wireless setup for this kind of thing? Or
I basically have 2 basses out here. I have one that I use in we'll call it the pit, wherever they put us.
Mm-hmm.
That's wired in, and it's just a Fender. It's whatever you want to bring, kind of.
Okay.
This year I brought it's like a P-bass Lite, because last year the jazz bass I brought buzzed in some cities.
Mm-hmm. And
then on stage it's a wireless rig going into a P-bass.
Okay. Also Fender?
Also Fender, yep.
Gotcha. Are there any other special gear requirements? I guess you wouldn't use pedals, or do you occasionally, because
there's no pedals. Some of the guys have used a volume pedal, but that I don't even do that.
Gotcha. Well, it seems like it would be logistically hard to get at because you're not like in a particular spot enough, and that people wouldn't be stepping on it, or so much movement and stuff.
Yeah, luckily I'm running in and out enough that they kind of give me in the setup precedence over where I need to be, because I have the quickest time runs. I guess there's a couple that are probably, I don't know, less than 20 seconds, I would imagine.
Gotcha.
And I just have time to run back, throw my headphones on, and start the next song.
Very cool. And I guess also this allows you to be more interactive with the show and probably kind of see it a little more, because we've been talking to a few of the musicians that are touring with the shows, and when they're deep in the pit, they'll never really see the show. I was talking to the guy that's playing with Bat Out of Hell, and I said, well, what's the show like? He says, I don't know, I've never seen it. I just hunker down and follow the score.
Yeah, I've definitely only seen certain parts. There's other parts I haven't seen. I kind of wish I saw it.
Gotcha.
I've heard it a lot.
Yeah. For sure. And for those of us that have seen, like I've seen the movie, so I've got a general idea of what's going to happen, but it seems like an interesting interaction, especially getting you more involved. And there are some shows, a couple of the Cirque shows will have more visibility of the musicians, whether they actually come out at some point. In our friend Derek in Ka has, at the end of the show, he comes out and he's got a wireless setup, and he has to be in makeup, and of course he wears a mohawk all the time because it fits in with so at least he has a peculiar hair thing that goes with Ka, but it's just kind of part of his all the time. But other than that, they are in a bunker like 4 stories below the show, and so they're so far away from it, and they just put it on big screens and they just kind of follow it that way. Well, it's very interesting and it's very cool. How did you decide? And again, I know that you're doing so many other things, but what got you into Broadway, being able to play in Broadway? How did you kind of come across that?
I guess just throughout the years, I'd end up doing some regional theater stuff. And then actually the guitar player in C4, Craig Magnano, was doing Jersey Boys when we all lived together. And we used to make fun of him for dancing. He would practice the dance. It would be really funny. And then he recommended I come to some hangout or whatever, and I hung out, and then I ended up subbing on Jersey Boys in New York, just kind of a couple times a month. And then the road chair out here opened up and they offered it, and it's a great gig. I really enjoyed doing it. I didn't realize how much I would enjoy doing it. I mean, I thought it'd be cool, but it's a nice challenge to really stay focused and try and play perfect every night and run around and sing and dance and
Got you. And in addition to that, you have the either it's an advantage or a challenge of being out on tour, because you're in so many places and you're away from home, and so that's how what do you think of that? I mean, it's good and it's got to be tough at the same time.
Yeah, the toughest part for me is being away from my wife and son. And this week I have my son out here with me because he is on spring break, which is cool. So we went hiking today and did a bunch of stuff. But I guess the benefit is that I have more time to just practice. That's all I end up doing is practicing or going out to play in whatever city and trying to sit in wherever I can.
Gotcha.
And then doing the show and really focusing as much on music as I can.
Very, very cool. And if you were to give somebody, and again, a lot of our readers, when they're looking at what they're going to do, what advice would you have for a young bassist that might be interested in doing a show or being involved with a Broadway production?
I would say check out as many shows as you can, I guess. Be as technically proficient as you can on your instrument. Learn as many different styles of music as you can. Learn to play with your fingers, learn to play with your thumb, learn to play with a pick, sing.
Gotcha. Read well, I'm sure.
Yes, certainly read well. Yeah.
Have your theory down,
Yep.
Yeah, because it certainly, we were just talking, I want to say about a month ago, talking to a kind of a death metal band down at the Jersey Shore. And the guy's been playing for 2 years. And he's like, before that, he'd never even picked up a bass. And now he's playing at the Stone Pony and all. So it's totally different, but I'm going, yeah, you're going to have to, if you wanted to do something like what you're doing, you need to really do the work and be prepared for that.
Yeah, certainly. And I would say doing shows, you have to basically know the whole show before you go in and do it the first time.
Gotcha.
I think I ran Jersey Boys 30 times before I subbed the first time, easy.
Wow.
So I could come in and do it as if though I was already there.
Gotcha. Now, with your own music, again, you're more inclined towards jazz. And will your album in 2018 be kind of more of a jazz project, or what kind
it'll
of...
be kind of jazz. I think lately I've been leaning more with electric bass, as I've played mostly upright most of my life. I don't know. It's kind of in the middle of a bunch of stuff right now, where each gig has been kind of explored a new territory, I guess.
Sure.
And I've been writing a lot, so hopefully there'll be a bunch of new music. But it's been kind of interesting. I don't know. It may be a surprise to the people that know me, at least.
Very neat. Well, and it's one of the nice things. A lot of times when you are living, kind of constant exposure to other music, and granted, I know you'll have kind of a staple bit of music, but you might find influences that you'll carry over, and you go, okay, I'm going to maybe this bit, I want to add that to what I'm doing. And I was talking to another bass. I talk to a lot of bass guys, and I don't try to pigeonhole anybody, but sometimes just to get an idea of a genre. And I said, I hear you guys are kind of in prog rock. I was saying kind of classic rock. He goes, oh no, we're more prog rock. And I'm like, okay, we're kind of splitting definition here. But they felt that what they were doing is a little more progressive than a classical rock kind of thing. And I'm going, okay, well, I guess that's the thrust you're putting on it. But even jazz in itself has evolved so much with the influences of other cultures. And you got your Latin jazz, you've got kind of the old school Cotton Club, before anybody was writing music. One of the icons, actually, there's an upright bassist here in Portland, Chuck Israels, used to play with Bill Evans' trio, and he's here. And I know he's hardcore, old school, the way it used to be, kind of jazz, you know. But it's interesting how it evolves, and it gets progressing. And I'll come back to education as well, because I know you were involved. Do you teach when you're back in New York?
I do, yeah. I teach, and I had some online students as well.
Excellent.
That I teach through Skype or whatever.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I'm always pleased to hear when a fellow musician is involved with education, because it is unfortunately one of the areas that's being cut more and more by government programs. And so I think it's going to be up to the musicians to have this tradition and these abilities carry on, because without people like yourself, it's probably not going to get funded, and it's just not going to happen, which is really unfortunate, because even for people that don't want to become musicians, the skills and the analytical abilities and just brain development is of great value.
Yeah, I think my motto of teaching has always been teaching kids to learn how to learn. So even if they don't want to become a musician, they can learn how to learn anything,
Totally.
And you can do whatever you want.
Gotcha. Well, we're very excited. Thank you so much for taking time to talk to us today. We appreciate it. Jersey Boys coming hopefully to a town, a city, a hall near you, and make sure you come out and see Ryan playing, listen to him, and get involved with live performances. Come out and see musicians performing, because that's what's going to keep it all going. Thank you again. You've seen it coming to you here live from the Keller Auditorioum in Portland, Oregon. Bass Musician Magazine.